Have you ever had one of those moments, where you just knew what someone was about to say, even if you'd like only just met them, or felt this immediate, really strong connection with a total stranger?
Oh, absolutely. It happens.
Well, it feels like more than just intuition sometimes. And that feeling is kind of what we're diving into today. It's this really mind-bending concept called the fragmented self-reality theory.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because, I mean,
Yeah.
this theory really challenges something we all just assume is true,
Right.
which is, that our consciousness, our self, is completely locked inside our own head, inside our body. Instead, it proposes something pretty radical, that maybe parts of our actual essence, our consciousness, are subtly, well, scattered,
Yeah.
distributed within the minds of other people.
Scattered. Wow.
Yeah, and often without us or them having any clue what's happening.
Okay, so that's our mission today then. Let's really try to unpack this. We want to explore how this theory could fundamentally redefine what it even means to be you and how we understand connection itself. It's looking beyond the surface stuff.
Exactly. So, to try and put it simply, the theory suggests that your core identity, your unique thoughts, what you like, what you fear, maybe even your talents, it doesn't all just come from your own brain.
Okay.
It suggests that your sense of self is also shaped by these fragments of consciousness that has sort of embedded themselves in other people. And this is the really profound part. The reverse is also true. Bits of others are theoretically inside you.
So not like whole minds being copied?
No, not at all. Think of it more like maybe resonant frequencies.
Yeah.
Or specific patterns of thought and emotion that echo between people, like sympathetic vibrations.
Ah, I see. That's where it gets really interesting then. So when you instantly get someone, you feel that click, or you find yourselves finishing each other's sentences almost immediately.
Yep.
This theory gives us a totally new way to look at that. It's not just, coincidence or that you have great rapport. It might be an actual fragment of yourself that's resonated with them somehow.
Creating this instant understanding, almost like a feedback loop between you.
It feels uncanny, that kind of synchronicity, but this gives it a deeper, maybe more structural explanation.
Precisely. And that leads us to a huge implication, really.
Yeah.
If this theory holds any water,
Yeah.
it means that no human being is truly a separate, isolated entity. We're not just these independent islands floating around.
So what does that really mean for us then? How does that play out?
Well, if you connect it to the bigger picture, it starts describing us more like networked beings.
Network deans. Okay.
Yeah, imagine this vast invisible web where tiny pieces of each of us are quietly, constantly intertwined. And that could be the real reason behind things like deep shared empathy. When you feel someone else's joy or pain, almost like it's your own.
Or maybe having weirdly similar dreams to a friend you haven't talked to in ages.
Could be. Or that sudden burst of inspiration you get just from seeing something someone else created. It suggests a kind of shared mental fabric we're all part of.
Right, a shared fabric.
Absolutely. The theory suggests these aren't just abstract feelings. There may be echoes of this shared consciousness, this interconnected system. It could explain why certain collective moods seem to bubble up, or why trends catch on so fast, seemingly out of nowhere.
Or even why sometimes big discoveries happen in different places around the same time.
Potentially, yeah. It points to a level of human connection, maybe communion, that's much deeper than we usually think about.
Okay, but let's be clear, this is still a hypothetical theory, right? It's conceptual.
Oh, absolutely. Very much so. But what's exciting is that it does suggest some potential ways we could look for validation, which is where it gets really interesting.
How so?
Well, for instance, what if we could somehow access really deep levels of the subconscious mind, much deeper than we currently can? The theory suggests we might find these. Let's call them data fragments.
Data fragments, like memories.
Not quite memories in the usual
Yeah.
sense, maybe more like intuitive understandings or even specific skills or knowledge that the individual definitely never learned consciously. But these fragments perfectly match information or abilities held by another person. It'd be like finding software on your computer, you didn't install, but someone else did.
Wow, okay. That's a wild thought.
It is. And it raises another important question. Could we perhaps observe what you might call mirror reactions?
Mirror reaction.
Yeah. Imagine setting up a controlled environment. You have two individuals completely separate, no communication beforehand, maybe not even aware of each other. And then suddenly they show the exact same behavior or the same complex emotional response at the exact same moment, triggered by something totally unrelated.
Simultaneously, with no connection.
Simultaneously. If that happened repeatedly, way beyond statistical chance.
Yeah.
Well, that would be a pretty powerful indicator of this shared fragmented consciousness idea.
You'd be looking for patterns that just defy any normal explanation.
Exactly.
Whew. Okay, this whole deep dive into the fragmented self-reality theory, it really does challenge our basic ideas about individual boundaries, about identity itself. It really shakes up what we think a self even is.
It truly does. It paints a picture of being human that's just far more interconnected, profoundly so, than most of us tend to imagine day to day. It suggests our very essence might not be purely individual, but more like a collective tapestry, woven from countless different threads.
Hmm. So here's something to really think about then, for all of us listening. If our consciousness, even just tiny fragments of it, is genuinely shared among us, how does that change things? Like, how does that shift our understanding of personal responsibility?
Right, or empathy.
Yeah, empathy, or even big concepts like universal understanding between people. Does it make it seem more possible, or maybe just different?
It definitely gives you a lot to mull over, doesn't it?
It really does. A fascinating, challenging idea.